Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. So glad to see you. We are talking today about a very key component of my everyday life. I've been using this particular item for well over a year, been testing out how it works for me, the setup, the system, and I think it's doing really well for my everyday life, and I want to share that with you. Now, as per the title of this video, I am referring to my little everyday carry notebook, which is set up in a very similar style to a Midori traveler's notebook system. I know on the internet a lot of people call these things Fodori, so in the style of Midori, but not exactly from the brand. Initially, I was also drawn to the Midori system and just was piqued by the community that really loves that style. But I wasn't 100% committed, and it is a bit more expensive. So I had little notebooks and I thought, well, maybe I could rig up my own and see how it works for me. So whether you're looking for a Fodori system or you're just curious in terms of, what I like to carry in my little notebook and how it works for me, like this is in my purse or my work bag 90% of the time whenever I'm out of the house, and it's been working super well for me. Regardless of which side you are on and why you're here to join me for this video, I hope you find something useful out of it. I'll show you how I set it up, the components, and how I use it functionally in my day-to-day life, and really just how it fits into my lifestyle. If you're curious and interested in that, keep on watching. I am going to flip you over to the top-down view, and I hope you enjoy this video. I figure we start off by doing a visual size comparison between what I'm going to show you in more detail. This is my everyday carry, my little fits in most purses, backpacks, quick and easy to assemble and disassemble, traveler-esque Fodori. I think that's what a lot of people are calling it. And here's an actual traveler's notebook. Now I do have an unboxing and a first impression setup video for this one. If you're curious or you want to learn a little bit more about Midori's or traveler's notebooks, I will leave the link to that video down in the information box. But this is an original and this is the regular size. Now what I carry day to day is comparable to a passport size traveler's. And if I stack them together like this, you really get to see the size difference and the space saving, which for me is the bigger piece. Additionally, I do find that the leather cover can get quite heavy, especially if you stack it with all the goods inside. That may not bother you, but for me, I like to be as light as possible in my daily carry. So let's talk a little bit about this and look at the components. Like I said, I put this together quite inexpensively and all the parts are fairly accessible, which is great, especially if you want to try and get into these type of notebook systems and just see if they're for you without breaking the bank. It is made up of the outer case or cover, the elastic piece, which I DIY'd, and I'll show you more details in a bit. And then when you go inside, we've got two notebooks, left and right, and then I stick one pen in here that has a clip and it holds on tight, no problem. Let's remove the pen and remove these two parts. And I'll tell you exactly what notebooks I have in here. Just give me a moment. Okay, those in the corner. And let's just look at this. This in itself, I bought it off of Amazon. A pack of two cost me, I think, $15.99 Canadian. I still have the other one. This one I've used almost a solid year now, and it's got pretty minimal wear and tear. Granted, I don't throw this around too much. It usually stays in my bag or my purse, backpack, things like that. But I do just I beat it up in the way that I use it every day. This sticker is my own little add-on. If I can find the artist that made this, I will also link that down below. I think it's pretty cute because once you close it, it looks like this guy's just hanging on for dear life, which is how I feel sometimes. Now, this case is faux leather, and it does not come with a little hole here. This situation is just an elastic. You can buy higher quality versions of these elastics. You can buy slightly cheaper versions of these elastics, but it's just a round elastic. You might even be able to use a long hair tie. And what I did is I took an awl and I poked a hole right about in the center, and I threaded this through. I made sure I had enough elastic to securely close it. And then I simply tied a knot right here. Now you'll see my little memo to myself to talk about the size of this one. So this case is about 6 inches high, that's this way, and about 4 inches across from this end to this end once it is closed. Okay, and it comes in a couple different colors. I bought this brown one. I think there's a pink one. There's probably like a gray one or a lighter colored one. You do have a couple of choices. I found this to be a good hand feel while not being too flimsy. The brand for this one is called Wisdom Pro. I think there are a couple choices. You can also even get one handmade on Etsy. A lot of independent leather work makers or leather goods makers, they will make you a custom cover. But again, I find the plastic or PU version like this very lightweight and pretty easy to carry, and I can wipe stuff off. I haven't had any issues with it. I do think that eventually it will start getting roughed up or the edges might peel a little bit. And again, I haven't had any issues yet. So this is the main component. It's got one little slip for a card, if you've got a card or something. Do I have one to show you? No, but we can pretend. I can stick a card in here. I can stick a couple. But the main parts are going to be my notebooks. So I've got 2, and I prefer to carry 2 because it allows me to just slide it into here very easily, and I can assemble and disassemble this, right? If I want to carry the whole thing, here's one to the one side and then one to the other side. But let's check out what these notebooks are. As you'll see, I have one that is a field notes. I love field notes paper. I think they are amazing quality. They come with some limited edition, covers, and this one has like the gilded edges. I think it's so much fun. The field notes, I have dot grid, but you can also get them in various different types of paper. I just like the quality of the paper. It's thick, it's robust, you can draw on it, you can use felt markers, and they are just easy to use. Some people carry them just like this. I prefer to put it inside. The other one I have is a Moleskine. Those of you who are OG fans of Moleskine, I believe this is called their Kaye pocket size, and it is very similar, if not exactly the same as the field notes. So if I stack them like this, pretty much the same. I think it's like a millimeter larger. One of these is a millimeter or 2 larger. You also notice that the Moleskine Kaye is stitched with thread over here, whereas the field notes is stapled. It does not make a big difference to me. Now I use these 2 differently for different purposes, and they all kind of fit together nicely in this little carry. Now for me, 2 of the reasons I use this whole setup is 1, I'm always shopping for something or reminding myself I need to go and pick up something next time I'm out and about or doing groceries. So this one is actually more of my grocery list or shopping list, a list of things I need to go buy from somewhere. And you'd be surprised after, a couple of months, you accumulate quite a few things. And the way I use this, and I've tried a couple of different ways, but I'll show you an example. Okay, for example, this is the way I use something like a grocery list. On March 8th, I am thinking these are the meals I want to cook. I have a couple of different colors on my pen. My pen is currently a Zebra Blend 3-color ballpoint. So it's got black, blue, and red. Anything that is in black is just regular writing. Anything in red are things I need to pick up. Things in here are what I already have inside the fridge or inside the house. So this is one way that I do my groceries. I do things I need what I have, what I need, and just kind of like look through them, just so I'm not double shopping for ingredients I already have, or if I change my mind, anything like that. With these Moleskine cahiers, by the way, the back pages are perforated, so you can just rip them off if you like. I didn't find the need for that. I also use this if I am just wanting to keep a list of things. Oh, I don't have it here. Maybe it's in field notes. If I wanted to keep a list of things as a reminder, if I'm going somewhere, I want to jot something down, I use the field notes generally for that, just to separate these two. I used to use the Moleskine for everything, but eventually I found it easier to keep track when I had two separate ones. So the field notes, it's got some extra doodads on the back, like a little ruler, some conversions and details. But let's look at something like this. Recently, I was in Bellingham, and I wanted to do a lot of my research while I was at home. So I looked up the places I wanted to go, what were their hours on the day I was going, what was the street names, looking up stuff like what are some coffee shops around that area that I could go to, right? So it's just a quick way to take note of stuff while still being quite just easy to use and non-fussy. And if I make a mistake, I just scratch it out. It's nothing precious. Some other things I put on here, for example, I go camping once in a while and I take note of things I want to maybe bring with me when I go camping, right? I also use this for stuff like, what do I have in here? Maybe I went to the fabric store. I wanted to go to the fabric store and I need to know what kind of things I need to buy. So I draw myself a little doodad picture and then I labeled it with stuff I need to buy. So again, quite versatile, and you can use it for whatever that you want. And I like how this, again, slides straight into this side. And then I put this back over here. And now we are ready to go with the pen that hooks right in here. We close it, we wrap it, and you are ready for going around town. Now, those of you who do like using different pens, I'll show you how some of my other pens will fit in here. So for example, I have a TWSBI fountain pen. This might actually be a little bit too large. So, but I will try it on for you. Yeah, it's too large and the clip is a little too tight. It's not going to fit over that. So a TWSBI is a no-go. If you have something, I think this is a Jinghao, which is similar to a Sailor. Ooh, I would also say the clip, you could force it in, but I think it would scratch up the edge. So no to that one. If you have one of these that actually has a clip that opens, that's perfect. So even a chubbier pen, close it up. It will stick out a little on the top, but not a big deal. If you like to use something like a Stedler, if you're an engineer or just like them, these should work just fine. Oh yeah, easy. It's a little long. It will stick out at the bottom, but otherwise, no problem. Now, I decided to go with this pen, a multi-pen, just because it had various colors. And of course, it's Miffy and it slides in here pretty easily. It doesn't stick out the bottom. So for me, this is a really nice travel combination. Now, for those of you who are thinking, can you really rig this up to be like a true Midori-esque situation? You probably can. And I thought about it, but I didn't end up going through with it since I don't actually need to take that many notebooks. 2 notebooks is plenty for me. But if you wanted to, you could, with your elastic, right? You probably will buy like a roll or quite a good amount of elastic. Make something that goes around the center, and then you can hook your notebooks the way that people do for their travelers, their original travelers. And that's no problem. I can see this being rigged up easily for, 3 notebooks, maybe even 4. Do know that if you do that, your pen will likely not fit in the middle anymore because you're going to lose out on this real estate right here. One of the other reasons I very much like this slide and go, I call it the slide and go setup, is because look, if I'm using this side, right, I'm gonna write in here, I flip it over, and this actually lays flat. I don't have to take it out if I'm just writing in it. Very comfortable, no issues. If I want to use the other side, I flip it over and it still lays flat. No issues, very comfortable. With some of the actual Midori stuff that flips out in the middle, you might not feel as comfortable with it laying flat, but that's really up to your personal preference. So this little guy is currently a staple in my everyday carry, and I find it super versatile, easy to use, and maybe you'll try it out too.